Making healthier swaps can be so overwhelming. Trust us, we've been there. When we first started out, we were overwhelmed. Where do we go? Where do we start? Do we change everything overnight? But we realized, let's start with food. That's the best place to start. It's what we're consuming every single day.
And most tasty place to start too, in my opinion.
So yeah, in this video, we're gonna chat about just 5 simple steps to help kind of make those swaps with food, beginning with that.
All right, first things first. Number 1, we're gonna be changing our mindset when it comes to food. We can't have this concept of food is just calories. Yes, calories are fuel, which allows us to be able to do everyday things, but also food can provide nutrition for us to repair and regrow things, especially when we're sick or injured. It can also be used to help build muscle, to help us do everyday tasks and compete in events. And also kind of a fun fact too, all of our cells and our brain tissue are surrounded by fat actually, which helps insulate things for better conduction and increases velocity actually of our nervous impulses. And the fat around our cells helps us to have things to be able to absorb inside and go back out quicker as well too, which is really cool. But there's so many things you can do with food, of course.
Yeah, I mean, food is fuel, but food is so much more than that as well too. So think that every time we eat, we have the opportunity to either fight inflammation or cause inflammation, fight disease or cause disease. So what can we do, or how can we spin that needle the other way towards fighting inflammation, towards fighting disease? I think a simple way to think about it is asking yourself, is this food from God or is this food from man? Food from God will be more of the foods that are whole foods, fruits, vegetables, whole grains, grass-fed beef, butter,
so
dairy.
many different things that, yes, it takes a little bit more time to prepare and maybe cook, but you have all the nutrients in it as well too, and nothing's been eliminated. Like processed foods are food made for man.
Yeah, that's all the processed stuff. So that's the stuff that has gone through a factory, been processed, and we want to steer clear from artificial sweeteners, all that junk. We'll get into that more. But that's step 1. So step 2, we want to focus on prioritizing the quality of our food, looking at where our food comes from and getting the high quality food. So buying organic whenever possible. A good rule of thumb to look at though when you're buying organic is looking at the Clean 15 Dirty Dozen. So you may or may not have heard of that, but the Dirty Dozen are gonna be the most pesticide-laden, contaminated foods that you really do wanna focus on buying organic. So those are gonna be things, for the most part, that have like a thin skin that can be penetrated more. So things like strawberries, your leafy greens, grapes, apples, definitely buy those ones organic because those ones are super pesticide-laden. But otherwise, the Clean 15 are the ones that don't have as many pesticides in them. So those ones are where you can kind of go a little looser and not buy organic and maybe be more friendly with the budget. So classic ones on that list are gonna be avocados, onions, pineapple, papaya. So those are ones you can go a little looser on too.
But if you want to take matters into your own hands like we did, we started our own garden. It was very small and we started with a couple raised beds, and we were able to see so much of our hard labor, I guess you could call it, and to see how God created this little seed that you plant and it produces this vine which leads to this plant, and then it produces fruit or vegetables. And I think it's a really great way to get started, especially if you have a little bit of property. You can even start with something as small as a little herb garden. What's really cool about herbs is you can actually have them year-round, but also they can be perennials as well too. And herbs, they have a lot of medicinal effects, so you can have things that can help with your health, antimicrobial, antiviral properties as well. And with not only that, you can have really great seasoned food. In my opinion, the herbs that we grow in our own garden do a wonderful job of seasoning our food, better than what we can get in the store.
Totally level up our meals.
Yeah. Yes, do you have a favorite spice that we've grown?
Rosemary is by
Rosemary?
far my favorite. What about you?
Probably oregano. I love oregano.
Yeah.
And another thing you could do is partner with local farmers with through CSAs or farmers markets as well, because they have a lot of great products out there that can sell to you, that you can bring to your home and eat this nutrient-rich food at your home as well, without having to worry about the labor of growing your own garden as well.
Totally. I love the idea of supporting local. And you can also get plugged in, go to your farmer's market and seek out those farmers that use more organic practices. that use more regenerative agriculture practices, that do pasture raised kind of thing. So focus on that there. Go to your farmer's market, seek that out, get plugged in, and know where your food comes from.
Build those relationships, because you can partner with somebody that's really trying to make it themselves with growing their own food, or you can also partner with somebody that you know that you're growing your own garden, and you can maybe provide food to them as well.
Yeah, exchange of services are great in that way. Oh, or get some backyard chickens. That's another way to know where your food comes from.
That's true. That's a good place to start.
Good plug.
All right, step number 3. Why you did it like that? I guess somebody played basketball. Anyway, step number 3. These 3 things you have to avoid, cut out immediately if it's possible. Seed oils, highly processed foods, and artificial sweeteners. So one little plug I can say about artificial sweeteners that I get really passionate about is I have some friends that are type 1 and type 2 diabetics, and they try to do as little sugar as possible unless they need to bump into sugar to, again, survive, especially for type 1 diabetic. But when you avoid like things like that are say that they're sugar-free, they probably have actually sugar alcohols or artificial sweeteners in there to help give them that nice sweet taste still, but it's not sugar technically, but it still has the biochemical properties of sugar, where it'll still spike your blood sugar, which will cause a big spike in energy or a crash, whatever the case is for you, and you'll still have that craving for more sugar, even though you're like, oh, I'm eating something sugar-free, I should be okay. But that's not necessarily the case. But again, it's going to be hard to be perfect in these categories, especially seed oils. There's so many of them out. Like if you just look at the packages and labeling, seed oils are a very common thing.
Anything in a package has seed oils.
Exactly.
I swear lately. But yeah, those seed oils are going to be canola oil, vegetable oil, sunflower oils. Steer clear from those. And when you're steering clear of the processed foods, that's going to help too, because a lot of those have seed oils in there too. So that kind of is interchangeable. But just think whole, real ingredients instead of processed foods.
Exactly. And next.
Step 4. Change your relationship with food. So eat with gratitude, eat with intention. Every time that we go to eat, take a moment and thank God for the food that we've been given. Try to shift that mindset. We all have a relationship with food, and let it be a healthy one. You know, we so often will stay in a relationship with food that doesn't treat us well. But if it were a relationship, an intimate relationship, let's say a boyfriend or girlfriend of a friend, you would say, why are you staying in that relationship when that person is not good to you? This is a toxic relationship. Get out of it. But yet we do that with food, right? Like we'll totally keep on eating a food that we love, but does not love us back. Like for me, it was ice cream for a long time. And like, I love it so much, but it did not love me back. And it finally took saying, why am I choosing to eat something that makes me feel terrible? Like, why am I staying in this bad relationship? So try to have a healthy relationship with food. Try to be in relationship with, as odd as it sounds, try to be in relationship with food that's going to nourish your body rather than like punish your body there as well too.
Be intentional. Don't just wolf something down within a couple minutes and go on to the next thing. Take time, sit down, appreciate the food, thank God for where it came from, and continue on from there.
Yeah, and try to think about connection and knowing where your food comes from, being connected with your food rather than convenience in food there too. And think about what we're gaining from the food. Think about the energy, vitality that you gain from food. That it should make us feel vibrant and make us feel well, not make us feel sick and disease laden.
And it can be convenient now, as in quick, but it won't be convenient later on in life when you're struggling with hypertension, heart disease, diabetes, so many different things, Alzheimer's, dementia, so many things that can be prevented, if not for sure slowed down with what we eat. Right? And finally, step number 5.
Make it simple and make it sustainable. Think about long-term success here. We want to focus on progress, not perfection. If we don't know where to start, then let's just look at one meal at a time, right?
Can we start with my favorite meal?
Sure, let's go.
Start with breakfast. Come on, everybody, breakfast. Nothing, quote unquote, grinds my gears more so when people are like, oh, I'm gonna enjoy my cereal, I'm gonna enjoy.
America's breakfast foods, like let's think
Yes,
about them, right? Like
cereal,
bagels, toast, waffles, pancakes, carbs, blood sugar spike and crash.
Yes, exactly.
Process.
So going from there and making changes, let's get some protein, let's get some good fats in there. So one of my favorite breakfasts is we have chicken, so eggs. I love eggs with either something like chicken sausage, pork sausage, leafy greens, and then maybe a starch like a sweet potato or quinoa.
Yeah.
And that's another thing too, like always, how is the saying go?
You love this quote that like basically says, never eat food that you can't pronounce, but always be like, except quinoa.
Except quinoa, exactly.
You should eat quinoa, right?
So again, I get really fired up about this. Make sure you eat something that's high protein, high fat, because then you're gonna start your day on the right foot. Excuse me for fumbling my words there a little bit, but again, you're gonna start on the right foot. And this will set you up for success, so you'll prevent yourself from snacking. Mid-morning snacks, you'll be able to make it to lunch, eat another good protein-rich meal with some fats in there too, and you can make it all the way to dinner without having to feel the need to snack in between with things. Whereas things that are more carb-heavy, pancakes, waffles, bagels, etc., you're gonna be hungry all of a sudden because your body processes those calories even faster, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I would focus on when you're breaking your fast for breakfast, aim for at least 20 to 30 grams of protein in that meal with good healthy fats too. Top some avocado on the eggs, you know, add a bit of extra, you know, bacon, turkey bacon, regular bacon, anything there as well too, that you can add some meat and protein in with the eggs. People think like even a protein breakfast is gonna be an egg or two. There's like 6 grams of protein in an egg. That's not enough. So we need to add in some extra meat, looking at more of those pasture raised or grass fed meats there too.
Because if you think about protein as the building blocks for so many things like enzymes, channels for things to get in and out of cells, like it's very important to have protein. Helps build bigger muscles for those that are trying to get their gains and whatnot.
Get jacked.
And then especially for fats too, it helps with absorption of your nutrients into your body, because a lot of things need to be fat soluble or coated in fat in order for your body to absorb it. So that's why fat is very important as well to get in your meal every day.
For sure, for sure. Think about health is not about restriction, it's about nourishment. And so when you're making these swaps, tiny swaps, a little bit at a time makes such a difference. So if making these swaps feels overwhelming, let's start with what's on our plate right in front of us. Let's choose food from God, not food from man, and focus on nourishing our bodies. You got this.
Yeah, again, focusing on the Dirty Dozen, Clean 15, that is a good place to start. So we hope that this video has been helpful for you guys and they find knowledge out of this and the encouragement to make that first step. If you've already started this journey, please comment below of like what was your first thing that you changed in your health journey. And again, subscribe, like it, whatever you have to do for this channel so that we can continue making these videos to help provide you guys with the tools and the tools for success when it comes to this health journey.
Yeah, we're here to share all the health tips, holistic health tips, homesteading tips, and I think food is the first place to start with that. Knowing where our food comes from, making swaps there too, and ask us if you have any questions. We're here to help.
Yeah, thanks guys. Food.
Food, glorious food.